I just wanted to jump on here real quick and talk to you about a video that came up on my feed. It was with Daniel Adams and his wife Heather, and it's Daniel Adams' testimony, part 3, if you want to look it up. But basically, I watched it, and there were some very disturbing things on this video testimony, and this is where they talk about, admitting to their marriage or their relationship starting as adultery and an affair when he was still married to his ex-wife, which on one hand I think is very commendable, really, for anybody to be able to come out publicly and admit something so shameful and so wrong and hurtful, and so contrary to everything that they're supposed to be serving in their ministry, which is, Jesus and his word. So I'm sure, I have no doubt that they regret their adultery and the way their relationship started. But at the same time, there's some very serious conflicting statements in, that they expressed. Number one was, laughing, minimizing, and blame shifting. Talked quite a bit about, the deliverance and the ministry, but yet, were they really delivered when they met? Because if they were delivered, they wouldn't be going right back into sin and adultery. So that's a little confusing. And then, just like there was blame shifting and excuses made, and even speaking for the ex-wife about how she felt about ministry, which seemed to sort of put blame on the ex-wife, oh, she wasn't into that or something, which is weird that they would say that or even feel entitled to speak for her after what they did to her in her marriage and her children in this adulterous affair. And then probably the most disturbing thing that Daniel said during that exchange was saying, that marriage was adultery because my ex-wife had already been married and divorced. Well, what does that say about your current marriage then? So it's confusing because on one hand, Daniel is saying that he's taking responsibility and ownership for everything, but on the other hand, he's not. He's making excuses for adultery. He's even going so far as to point out things that were wrong with his first wife or first marriage, and saying that that first marriage was adultery because she had already been married and divorced. Well, so had he. And now he's married and divorced twice and married again a third time. And that was a marriage out of adultery. So I think Daniel needs to decide what he's doing and if his current marriage is adultery or is not, and to justify it. Because if not, if he's a minister of the gospel and he's leading millions of people to Christ, then you have to give them a straight answer on what is the truth of the gospel. Is it that your current marriage is adultery? Is it that your previous marriage was adultery? And if your previous marriage is adultery, and your current marriage is adultery, then you need to repent and figure out what that means to you. Matthew 5:32 says, "But I say unto you that everyone who divorces his wife, except for the grounds of immorality," which the Greek translates as porneia, which includes adultery, makes her commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. So unless Daniel was cheated on, and his ex-wife committed adultery, then his current marriage is in adultery. If I don't think it's right to be bringing up the ex-wife and whether or not that marriage was a marriage of adultery when she can't speak for herself. She's the victim here. So why blame shift? You got to give people a straight answer and truly repent. And I don't see that he's truly repented, just made excuses, and it's great. That's a start to come out and speak publicly. But if you're leading people this way, you're leading them into sin and ultimately to hell. So I think you owe everybody a clear explanation of where you're going with this. Thanks.